I, Division II, Division III. And the technical difference is Division I, which are the big major schools, they can only give you full scholarships in football and men's and women's basketball. Then all those other scholarships are kind of divided up, and that's a real negotiating process that if you're in those sports, you'll learn about. At Division II, they do award athletic scholarships, and they call them athletic scholarships, but you can also get financial aid, you can also get leadership scholarships. If you do something else at the school, they want you to come there. I mean, it's not all just sticker price and that's it, what you looked up on the website and go, oh God, I can't afford that. I mean, there's, the more valuable you are as a student. Division III does not give strict athletic scholarships, but if you go to a Division III school, which there are some great Division III schools around the country, academically, they have great classes, their schedules aren't as demanding as far as travel, the kids can pay attention to their academic, the coaches are there. I mean, there is no NCAA, well, what's the minimum we have to have graduate? At those schools, everybody graduates or the coach is looking for a job. It's not a, well, we had 2 in the last 10 years. Well, that's not what they're there for. So you get to play a sport in college and they're gonna graduate. And those schools, if you're willing to go outside the region, it's very important that you let them know that you're willing to go out, because they'll have some interest in you. Recruiting coaches, head coaches, all across the country, they're like anybody else. I mean, they're working hard, they're trying to do their job, but the easier that you make it for them, the more likely they're going to pay attention to you. And everybody has this picture of, somebody going to a game, they get this 108-page football program, and it's got all the named players in it. Most of the time, the coach, the high school coach, doesn't even want their class listed, and that's in football. It's not uncommon to go to a softball game or a basketball game. You have no way of knowing who these kids are, whether it's summer league or whether it's a varsity. So if you go to the game, you may like a kid, a coach may very well like them. Well, now they've got to go figure out who it is. And then you get into the pragmatics of it. Well, you're at a summer tournament with about 50 other teams. So if they may watch your game, and there's a game behind them, a game to their right, and a game to their left, and they're trying to watch those, but they don't have any idea who you are, and before they get a chance to track you down, you've left. So there may have been a college coach at your game that went, I would have liked to talk to that person, but they didn't have a roster. That is just huge. If you went to a tournament, I guarantee if you went to a tournament and one team was passing that sort of stuff out, the other organizations, particularly regionally, start going, I think we need to do that.
The highlight video is a very important part in the recruiting process. From the standpoint of a college being able to view and see a kid and not necessarily have to be in front of the kid, they're only going to have so many opportunities to be able to see a kid play. And for one, if they can't see the kid play, that's going to be their best chance to be able to get some kind of insight on what the talent of the kid is. Secondly, it can open the door for them to want to come see a player in person. If they are on the fence about if they want to come and see a player play, they're gonna watch that film, and it can say, okay, we got to go see this kid, or we need to take the next step to maybe offer them a scholarship. For athletes that are under the radar, a small school, a small town, places that necessarily college coaches aren't going to go through as much, especially for the smaller schools. They're not going to have the budget to go everywhere. They're not going to have the manpower to see every single kid, and there's going to get kids that are looked over every year. There are kids that are looked over every year. And the recruiting and recruiting films and actually recruiting yourself and going out and finding the schools that you're interested in and showing them and getting them your film and showing your interest in them is going to be a huge step, and that's where the recruiting film comes in, as that can really help to get your foot in the door with places that wouldn't even necessarily even think to come recruit wherever you are.
The quality of what is written makes a huge difference. I know a lot of parents were English majors and they go, well, if I wrote it, I'd write it like this. But it becomes pretty obvious when it's written by a parent or a coach, even if you take all the time to do that. It's to have some sort of objectivity of a professionally written, journalistic story where this kid is not the greatest thing ever since everybody else missed on Michael Jordan and I found him, and here's the next Michael Jordan. I mean, it has some perspective. You can ask questions about, you know, what about the kid's character? What else is he involved in? You know, positions changes he's made, get into camaraderie, have a quote from the coach. The content and the quality of the content, I mean, basically they can sniff it out in a minute, and you need to have quality professional content.